welcome to Hand of Heaven, real people, real stories, all God. I'm your host, Jen Wilhite, and today's episode involves a wedding, life flight, and twins. So I am very, very excited to announce my guests today, Abby Stevens and Cole Stevens, cute married couple. I have known Abby for, I should have done the math, like 33 years or something like that, right?
Yeah, I got there in 91. You got there in
92. Yeah. Which doesn't make sense because we're 25.
I know.
So how does that work? I don't know. Math is hard. You guys, I have been so excited to have you on. This is so awesome. So if you'll just take a minute to introduce yourselves, tell us who you are, tell us about yourselves, maybe before you got married and then how you met and, your cute little life story.
Should I go first? I'll go first.
You should.
So I grew up in Kaysville, Utah. Abby grew up in Cokeville, Wyoming. After high school, decided to serve a mission for a church service mission, and that's kind of where we met. But I'll let Abby.
Okay, I don't know this story.
I'll let Abby share her youth, and I'll share
some
stuff about maybe how we met in the mission field. So, go for it.
Awesome.
So like he said, I'm from Cokeville, little Cokeville, Wyoming, as in the Cokeville Miracle, and we can talk more about that.
I'm so excited.
So grew up there, typical childhood. Grew up as a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Loved it and graduated and went to BYU. And did the musical dance theater program.
Okay, so how did you guys meet?
So we met. So she, of course, went down to BYU and was there for 2 years and
2.5
years. Dated everybody that she could.
I
Decided
don't know why you keep throwing that in.
I love
'Cause you did.
that.
'Cause you did.
Everybody.
You dated everybody.
Not everybody I could, just a few.
Anyway, after about 2.5 years, she just had the prompting that she needed to serve a mission. And so that's where we met. We served in the same church mission out in Jacksonville, Florida. We served in the same general area for a month.
Okay.
And then I got transferred out the last 5 months.
Okay. And wait. Did you guys like each other, or were you just?
So
You
there's
guys
a,
both smiled.
there's a story behind that.
This is good.
So in the mission, there's levels of leadership,
Right.
district leaders, zone leaders. And so when we met, it was in June of 1995.
Okay.
Right.
She got called in the same zone district that I was in. And so as we got going at the end of that month, we got a new mission president in July.
Okay.
And so as we were going, she made a bet that I was going to
Be called
to be
be
an
assistant to the
assistant
president.
called to the office.
AP.
Yeah.
And so she wrote up this little contract that
What?
Well, because he's
Not a
like,
contract.
He was like, no, he was trying to be all
Yeah.
humble. Later, I learned he's really not that humble. But anyway,
but it was like a good show.
he's like,
But it was a good
no,
show.
I won't.
So wait. What was the
the contract
What'd
was
you say?
that if I did, I owed her a date. When I
Not
no,
a
sorry,
date,
not a date, dinner.
No, we can't use those
Okay.
terms.
It was a dinner.
I kind of loved
The,
It was
how
a
we
dinner.
met her.
Okay, the winner of the bet would
Had to pay
for dinner when we
got
got
after
home.
your missions.
Yeah.
It wasn't a date. We just paid for
Okay.
dinner.
because she was
I
going to get home.
love
She got
that.
home a month before I did. So
Yeah.
we had this bet, and the
And
date
I literally wrote a contract
she did.
for him to sign.
I love this.
Now,
Part of the problem is when we met to actually sign it, I had already been,
he already knew
I already
that he
knew
was
that I was
called,
going.
but he couldn't say anything.
but I couldn't say anything.
That's so good, actually.
So,
You're
so
like,
I had to sign it, knowing that
I love this. You're like,
that I
we'll
would
see who
that I would have to
wins.
pay up.
No way.
So-
That's really cute.
So that's kind of how we met, and then I got to serve for the last 5 months in the office and got to see.
So
her
then you
there.
guys got to know each other better, right?
Yeah.
Because you're kind of like.
And that
in
was what I
leadership.
think really, as we look back, that's really what was kind of the foundational for our relationship, is that setting that we got to meet in, where
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't, a typical setting where
you are worried about what does he think
Yeah.
and what does she think.
Totally.
Like, I mean, yes, naturally, those things aren't completely cut off as missionaries, right? You
Oh, for
see
sure.
someone, you have the attractions, like, oh, they're
100%.
cute. But you know what you're doing and you're serving. That's why I was like, I'm going to make this mission appropriate, and we'll just have this little contract post mission,
Yeah.
right? Like, not next week, we'll meet as missionaries and go to dinner, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, there was just, I think, a mutual, like, seeing each other on that foundational level that we weren't worried about, oh, does he like me? Oh, does she
Right.
like me? It was more who they are
as a
Yeah.
person.
as a person and
you-
for us
admiration.
in the gospel, what their
Yeah.
testimony and their foundation and how they behave and, just those really basic characteristics of a person that sometimes get overlooked when you're dating.
Just infatuated.
And
and
you're
just like,
yeah.
yep, I 100% agree. Two of my brothers met their wives on their mission.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, it's kind of an awesome place to meet your spouse because of that.
Yeah.
Like you're focused on God, you're focused on Jesus, you're close to, like you're listening to the Spirit every day.
Yeah.
And you're just looking at people through more like spiritual eyes instead of like you said, like, oh, are they cute? Are they hot? Whatever.
Right.
Okay. So you finish your missions, but you're in Wyoming and you're
And I'm in
Utah.
Kaysville.
Yeah.
And so she had actually, the day I got home, which was January 1st of 96, she calls me.
We went to a Colin Ray concert, so that was
Love
our
it. That's
first-
so cute.
first official date, I
yeah.
guess, that we kind of count as like
The
kind
beginning.
of things really started really progressing then.
Okay.
His song "One Boy, One Girl" became our song.
That's so cute. That's
I
a
know.
cute song.
So to just kind of give a timeline of how fast this went,
Yeah.
it was like January
And
19th was the Colin Ray concert. February we started talking about our future.
Okay.
We were like engaged to be engaged. You know how that works, right?
Totally.
I called the temple to see what dates were available before I had my ring.
we
love it.
We got engaged
Got
in March.
engaged in March,
Okay.
and the date was set for June
June
28th, 1996.
Okay.
On June 21st, that all got
So
thrown.
exactly a week.
One-
So June
one week
28th was a Friday.
Okay.
That was our wedding.
And we got in
days.
our accident on June 21st.
21st, exactly a week.
Exactly a week. I
So,
remember.
yeah, it was a
hearing
single
that,
car
yeah.
accident. I was working. She had gone to a cousin's wedding in Salt Lake that day with a lot of family. So she was picking me up from work. And then we were going to go home
Mm-hmm.
to her home in Cokeville to attend her cousin's reception that evening. And so this was the afternoon. On the way out of town, we'd stopped by and we'd signed our first apartment rental in Layton and then headed on to Cokeville.
Okay.
And as we got going through Cokeville, you go through Cokeville, Wyoming, you got to go through Evanston and a lot of backcountry roads. There's not a lot of traffic on those roads. And as we passed through Evanston, she was sleeping in the car. We usually stop in Evanston because it's kind of the halfway point
Right.
between kind of Salt Lake, Davis County area and Cokeville. But she was sleeping and I didn't want to wake her. So we just
And we were kind of in a hurry.
kind of in a
Right.
hurry to
Kind of
get
behind.
there.
So just kept going.
And then at the 1 mile marker on the Utah side of the highway leading from out of Evanston towards Woodruff, Utah, we crashed.
So let's back up just a minute,
Okay.
though. Before this, while we were dating, I explained to him that kind of in my probably later high school years, dating years, like, when you start thinking about future, dating, getting married things, I don't know what some people would call it, but like a premonition
Yeah.
or just a feeling that something was going to happen to me before I got married.
You did.
I mean, how broad is that though? Like something what?
yeah.
Good, bad?
Yeah.
But it was like I could tell it was like something
Yeah.
really significant and impactful on maybe in a challenging way, right? So I didn't know what
Did
that
that
meant.
scare you? Was you were just
I
kind of
mean,
like
yeah,
in the
it
back
was
of your
just
mind?
like a warning,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was so broad. It was like, and we should
But
talk.
what does that
And
mean?
she had shared this, and it's like, well, what does that mean?
She shared it before the
Yeah.
accident.
Yeah, before
Something is
while
going to
we were
happen,
dating,
but
just
it's
so you
like-
know. But I felt like because of that, we need to cover all our bases. So
Yeah.
we need to be careful. We need to, not take any risks. We will always wear our seatbelt. We will not, put ourselves
Totally.
in
Like do everything we
dangerous
can.
situations, whatever that looks like. It wasn't just I knew it was a car accident, but it was something.
Yeah.
And so
Don't you think that's so cool though? I mean, in a way that God kind of prepares your heart for this. Like he kind
Yes.
of gets you ready for this so that when it happens, because we had a similar thing with Sabrina, my daughter, but it's like when this happens, you're like, okay,
Yep.
this was
This-
going to be part of the plan, right?
Right,
Like,
right.
Anyway,
Yeah, and so we always wore our seatbelts, always. Like I was
Yeah,
so
good.
adamant about that. And then for whatever reason,
That day.
not a conscious decision, we just didn't do up our lap belts. So his
The
little
car we were driving at the time was a Geo Prism.
okay.
So it had, they don't make them anymore, but the shoulder harness was an automatic. So when you close
shut
the door,
it slides.
it
Oh, yeah,
slid,
yeah.
it slid
I remember
up.
these, yeah.
And then the lap belt was the manual. And so we had the shoulder harness on, but we didn't have
But we
the
didn't
lap
do
belt.
those lap belts. And because I was asleep, I
had to
reclined all the way back.
Okay.
Which you shouldn't do, in case anybody's wondering.
Right.
If you want a really
Interesting.
exciting read, pull out your owner's manual of your car and you'll find that. I never
not
read it
supposed to.
before.
Don't
so
operate the
Okay, so
vehicle.
here's the
No.
thing. Why do they even recline?
It's a good question.
You know what I mean? If
For
they're not
when you need to
supposed
stop along the side of the road
I
and take a nap or
guess.
something.
But
Yeah.
yeah, okay. But I
So-
bet most people would not know that.
Right.
They're like, whoa,
Or
reclines.
but because I'm thinking like a false sense of security because
You've got
you
your
know the
lap
shoulder, but when I'm leaning clear back,
It's way up there.
the shoulder harness is way up there. It's not doing anything for me.
Okay.
Now he was, it was right against him because he's sitting up driving.
Okay.
But just a little side note, and like I know everybody does this. Not everybody is perfect at listening and acting on promptings, and so I don't say this in any way to blame him or never have. But
I got the thought as we were driving through Evanston that we needed to stop. We needed to put on our lap belt.
Really?
But I ignored that because we were in a hurry. She was sleeping. I didn't want to wake her. So, that's a thing that when we have those promptings, premonitions, the spirit, whatever you want to refer to it as, we need to act on those things.
Wow.
And I didn't. Now, that's not saying that
we wouldn't have crashed.
we wouldn't have crashed or it wouldn't have been a thing, but the fact that I just didn't act on that.
Right.
And then, 10 miles later is when we crashed on this 2-lane highway that doesn't have any
Middle of nowhere.
middle of nowhere. There's just sagebrush
For
and nothing,
miles, literally
and antelope
Just like nothing.
and nothing. And so we crashed there at the 1 mile marker. It was a 2-lane highway. And as she was sleeping, I looked down to see her leg. She has a little vein on her leg that sticks out. So I was just, I
so
poked
random,
it,
right?
Yeah.
but unfortunately the road curved at this exact time.
Oh.
And so I hit the shoulder, which then I overcorrected into the other lane of traffic, which startled her. She woke up, and quite a distance down the road, there was another car coming our way.
Okay.
But when she woke up, she saw that car and
And it freaked you
Yeah.
out?
freaked her out.
Sure.
And going off the side first, the gravel was loud because
Yeah.
it's not a very big shoulder.
Oh.
And actually, the gravel woke me up, but he had already started to overcorrect by the time it woke me up. And I look up, we are in
The other lane.
lane. And because I'm kind of out of it
Yeah.
from being asleep, I see this car, not really thinking of how far it is. And we really had a good amount of time to just slowly get back
in.
because it startled me. And I remember grabbing his arm and yelled, "Watch out."
Oh, no.
Which scared him
Oh, no.
to overcorrect
The other way.
too hard again the other way.
Oh, wow.
So it was just kind
And
of
it was
this
probably,
big,
this was all probably in a matter of
like,
seconds.
It's just a matter of seconds. You're going
Yeah.
65 miles an hour,
Right.
and it just
Right.
You have like no
the
reaction.
reaction.
it happened faster than us telling you how it happened.
Right.
Yeah.
For
You know?
sure.
And so the area that we went off had a little gully ravine off the side for just drainage. And where we went off, with the car kind of slid, we hit our back end and then just catapulted us up in the air.
Oh, really?
Fortunately, we landed on our wheels.
Okay. So you
Rolled
rolled.
just
We
one time.
rolled. I can remember everything. I remember the dust. I remember hitting my head on the top of the car, holding on the steering wheel as we came to land. And as we landed, it was just, in this part of Utah, it's just red dirt. It's
Okay.
just red clay.
Hey,
And so where we crashed,
dry.
just
It was
Yeah.
dry
It was a
that
dry
day.
summer
Super
day.
dusty.
And so there was just dust. There was dust everywhere. And as the dust settled, I started yelling, Abby, because I couldn't see her.
And
So
at the
wait,
same-
you look over.
And
then
she's
you
not
just-
there.
He couldn't see me because of the dust.
For the dust, but you got to remember that her seat was reclined anyway.
Right.
So she was already reclined. And so as
And-
the dust settled and I looked down, all I could see was her feet in the front console and her body.
On
and
my seat, right?
your feet were on the seat and her torso and
Just
hips and stuff were
diagonally.
through the console with her head and area resting on the back seat behind the
so you
driver's
just
side.
shoved towards the back.
Just yeah,
she
I was
just
just like
basically slid
diagonal
out.
from my feet up in where I was sitting,
Oh my gosh.
diagonally with my head and body behind the driver's seat.
Oh wow.
Does that make sense?
Uh-huh, totally.
So yeah, so as he's looking over and all that dust, at the same time, I'm kind of coming to and having a hard time breathing because of all the dust. I had contacts, so all the dust and the contacts. I'm trying to open my eyes, see what's happening.
yeah.
Super confused.
Yeah. Like
Right.
disoriented.
Yeah.
Like, did you remember at that point. Did you remember though, like seeing the car coming and knowing you just got in a crash, or
Not at
you
that
just out
point.
of it?
I was
Okay.
still just really confused from seeing the car till the moment, like when I yelled "watch out" and felt the motion of
the
him.
jerkiness.
After that, I
doesn't remember
I don't
anything.
remember.
Blacked out.
So I don't know how I hit, where I hit, what knocked me out. Does that make sense?
Totally.
I think later though we learned just by physics on what happened as we rolled, because she was laying and, you know, spoiler alert, she broke her neck during the car accident. That because she was sleeping, she basically slid out, and because
Flew
the car
around.
rolled, I hit my head.
Okay.
The
And so
impact probably
they
did.
suspect that that's what she hit her head on the same roof in that
When
same
you
motion
did.
when I did.
But she just hit.
But
and
was
she had
harder,
thrown
right?
Yeah.
harder and just, you know, broke her neck.
Wow.
With more impact, yeah.
So fortunately, I was able to get out of the car, and I
Okay.
was in
And I could see as that dust settled, I could see my feet,
feet.
Okay.
but I couldn't feel them and I couldn't move them
you knew that right away.
right away because I could see them and I'm making, starting to put it all together, and I'm trying to move my feet and trying to talk to him because I could hear him calling my name. So I'm trying to answer him
Yeah.
Nothing was coming
and
out.
I couldn't, and I'm
Talk.
not
Not
at
enough that I could hear at that
not
point.
loud enough, with just, and so I'm immediately kind of panicked, right? I can't move. I can hear him. At that point, he sees my feet. He's coming around to the passenger back
Right.
door.
Like where your head is.
And luckily, even just from that one roll, it didn't smash the car down on me.
The driver's side wasn't smashed at all. The back passenger side,
The-
rear
the
was a little
glass.
bit shattered out and
Okay.
and stuff.
Right. And
Yeah.
all the glass on the passenger and back was all out.
Wow.
And so when I got to her, I knew enough. I'm not medically trained by any sense of the imagination, but I knew enough where she was that what I did is I just sit down and held her
Not
head.
move me.
Not move.
Don't
Not
move me.
move her.
Don't move your
I mean, our
your
favorite
head.
show at the time was ER.
Perfect. You guys
Right.
were trained.
We were well
Yeah.
trained.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And her,
Probably have a certificate.
her first words to me when I got back to there was, "Tell me this is a dream."
Because then I could, because he's looking at me, right? And so I have this visual of his
His face.
Perfect,
like,
cute
beautiful
face. Yeah.
Yes.
Big brown eyes. And I'm like, okay, starting. And then I'm like, wait, I was just asleep.
Yeah.
Is this a dream? So I said,
She said
tell
that.
me this is a
and
dream.
Deep down, like I really wanted to say, "Yeah, this is a dream."
Yeah.
But I said, "No, this is real."
Yeah.
And I
Cole, were
said-
you hurt at all?
No,
Okay. So you felt fine.
nothing.
You were able to get out.
I mean, other than hitting my head on the back of the roof of the car, no scratches, no cuts, no nothing.
Wow.
And
okay.
at that point was in shock and probably didn't even feel the,
Any-
what
the
it
pain.
felt
Of
from
it.
hitting.
Sure.
Later feeling some stiffness and soreness, but
Okay. So he says, or he just leans over and you say, "Is this a dream?"
yeah, and he says, this is real. And I said, then pray.
Oh,
So
I
that's,
love that.
Yeah. I mean,
love that.
and that's where my life, up to that point,
Okay. I'm crying too. We're good.
because of my foundation with my faith,
Yeah.
but also because of other experiences where my prayers were so definitely answered, that was the first thing on my mind was to pray.
Yeah. You had confidence in the
I
Lord.
had confidence that, and because of the hugeness of it, we needed his help above all help at that point, right? And that was the first,
like, immediate.
immediate,
Yeah.
right? Before emergency could get there or whatever.
Right.
Well,
And so, so I said, then pray. And
I think that was the start of these little teeny, we call them miracles, that we believe happened in that process. This is 1996. Cell phones don't exist.
Right.
well, they did.
They did exist, but they were not everybody had them. You don't carry them
Of
around in your
course.
pocket.
They were
way
way
like
more
we do now.
expensive.
Yeah.
The brick.
Yeah.
We call, all right. the
Very,
brick.
very few
Yeah.
people had them. But the first miracle, the immediate car that was going in our same direction that pulled up, they had a cell phone.
Oh, wow.
So they were called, they called the first EMS. We were kind of talking about it earlier today that had they not had that, because this is in the middle of nowhere. And so to go to the nearest town would have been 20 minutes, 20
Back
miles,
to Evanston.
or
And you
20
can't
miles.
move.
And a payphone.
She can't
Yeah.
move. And so fortunately there was a car.
Wow.
They had a cell phone. So EMS, we feel like got there in half the time of what it
Yeah.
maybe normally took.
Well,
so
as fast as they could. If someone was
Yeah.
able to call right away, like that's not a
Right.
coincidence.
No.
So that was the
God.
first little miracle. The second little miracle was a member of the Woodruff EMS was the first to respond, and we later learned that his name was
Carrie Stacy.
Carrie Stacy. He was actually going up hunting.
He was just off
leaving
duty.
He was
town.
just leaving
He was
town.
on call as
Okay.
as just a volunteer
Okay.
EMT,
And
but
his
he was
first-
with his brothers. They were going hunting. I mean, and up there, that's really important.
big
stuff,
deal.
right?
Yeah. Wait, so he just comes up on the scene?
No,
so
he
he
got the
got
call.
got the page,
Oh,
and
he was the first
his
responder.
first thing was like, we're just gonna let someone else take it.
Yeah.
And then he's like,
No, I have to take
So
this.
he was the first one in his pickup truck with his little bag.
That's so cool.
I think he called you. He didn't call you
Amy.
Amy.
He called you Amy.
And here's part of my personality.
Okay.
I'm laying there, can't talk. I hear him say Amy, and I was trying to correct him and say
It's
it's
like,
Abby.
hey, you know what? I love
Abby.
the help.
Abby.
Appreciate it, but it's Abby.
And I was kind of whispering it. They didn't really care. It really didn't matter.
For sure.
But I'm like,
But that's what
Abby.
you're thinking of.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, if you could call me my
and
right
I
name,
can
that'd be great.
feel like, and I heard the sound. They did use the jaws of life, the big
Cut-
to
cut
cut the
you out.
roof off,
So they could lift her straight
just
up.
so that they could lift me out more straight and not have to go through the door. So it wasn't like it was smashed. It wasn't necessary other than that.
Right.
So I could hear all those sounds, and I was kind of in and out of consciousness. But I could, I could hear voices. I can feel. Now, as dry as it was that day, another little tender mercies, it just started to sprinkle in the slightest, which was kind of help
little bit.
Wow.
get that dust down. And actually, at the time, this super quick thought. It was actually later, as I was thinking about it, I was like, those little drops felt like tears from heaven,
Oh,
like angels were
so
crying
cool.
for me. Anyway,
I love that.
I just,
it's
you
like
know,
God's
just
way of
weird
letting
little-
you know we're with you.
yeah,
Like you're not
yeah,
going through
you're
this alone.
feeling this.
I love
Yeah.
that. And I absolutely believe angels show up in those moments. Like,
Oh, absolutely.
where else would they be?
Yes.
Right?
Yes,
Well, and I think there's angels in that sense, and there's also physical angels like us as individuals
Earthly
helping
angels.
helping
Yeah,
other
both
people.
sides.
100%. Yeah.
Because another thing that after he came, they do all their things, get out of the car, and they take me to sit in the sheriff's vehicle because they weren't going to let me go because they called Life Flight
Yeah.
to get her as fast as they could. So the best thing they could do was take me to Evanston, where I could use a payphone and I could call my parents in Utah to come and meet. I didn't even know her parents' phone number. I didn't know how to get a hold of her parents.
Oh my God.
Anything
we
like
didn't
that.
have that just in our hand then, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Totally.
So as I'm sitting in the sheriff's vehicle, that blocked all this line of traffic going up the highway,
So that Life Flight could
could
land,
land on the road
highway.
because that was really the only place it could land. As I'm looking at the row of cars, I'm like, is this one little green Honda comes up? I'm like, that's her mom and dad.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
So as he mentioned
We were
earlier,
at a
it was
wedding.
my cousin's wedding earlier that
So
day.
a lot of
Yeah,
family
so
was
they
down.
were
So-
My
going to the
whole
wedding too?
family had been at the wedding.
Okay.
Had been at the wedding earlier in Salt Lake, and then because she's from Cokeville too,
Uh-huh.
then the reception was in Cokeville, and it's just over 2 hours drive from
Okay.
Salt Lake to Cokeville, just over the border. So there was several of my family
That
actually
passed
that
by.
passed it.
That passed it and didn't know it was
Yeah,
you? No
yeah,
way.
and so
because it was my car I was driving. They didn't recognize
Right.
anything
Right.
like
Oh my
that.
gosh.
But so my parents were further behind us. The other reason they were is because, I mean, there's just so many things that these
Like God's
crazy
hand.
little things. But my mom, toward the end of my mission, my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer.
Oh, wow.
And so that day after the wedding, she had an appointment with her oncologist. So when you're from Cokeville, there isn't a hospital. There are no doctors locally. So when she got cancer, she got an oncologist in Provo because I had a sister there going to BYU. So it was just close to family where she could go stay
Okay.
do doctor's things there.
Interesting.
So after the wedding, she had an appointment, which then delayed them even later than us. So they came upon it.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
So just
Did she realize right away? Was she
So
like,
they
"That's my daughter"?
realized, after a little bit, as they got closer, they realized that it was my car.
Okay.
Because they'd seen the car before. And so they had to realize, and so they'd actually pulled out.
They passed
Kind
the
of was,
line,
it was kind of a
right?
simultaneous
They did, to
when
get
I
to you.
recognized them. And so that was, another little tender mercy miracle that her parents were there.
Totally.
One, it was for me. I think a lot of it was for
Yeah,
me
like
because
support.
I'm in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
Found
And
a way to get anywhere.
yeah, and so
And I, at that point, was in the back of the ambulance waiting for life flight and was still, not really aware, getting out of consciousness. I wouldn't say I was literally unconscious.
Right.
It was more just
In
sleep,
and out.
yeah.
more of a sleep. Like my body's just not,
Shutting down
and
a little
so,
bit. Yeah.
so at that point, I remember opening my eyes. One of the only times I opened my eyes in the back of that ambulance was to see
Her dad.
my dad come in. Now, it was June 21st, and it was his 50th birthday.
Really?
So more just these little pieces
Wow.
of things.
Wow. My heart breaks for your parents, by the way. Like, have we just gone with
You
this with my
being on
girls,
that
like
side of it,
pulling
right?
onto that and being like, "That's my daughter." I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
What that was like.
Yeah. So he came in and just so briefly laid his hands on my head and gave me a priesthood blessing.
That's awesome.
And even though I truly believe God was there the whole time,
sure.
right? And, Carrie Stacy, that first EMT, he was the bishop of the Woodruff Ward,
Oh no way!
just
That's so
up
cool.
the road, right?
Yeah.
So just all these things. And, he told us later how strong he felt the Spirit
Wow.
at that scene. He didn't know us. He had no
Yeah.
point of reference. Why was the Spirit so strong? He's like, I've been on a lot of calls.
Yeah,
I don't feel
sure.
the Spirit.
It's like business as usual.
right? Yeah. But he told us later that he was actually very directed, exactly how
to
to move
do.
me, where to put his hands
Really?
on, so not to do more damage. And they didn't know what my
Sure. What
injury
your injuries
was.
Yeah.
They knew I couldn't feel and move.
So they suspected it was a spinal cord.
Okay.
So of course they did all the things to protect that, right? And just
Yeah.
in case. But
Oh, I
he
love
was very
that.
guided.
I love
and
that.
even the it's just so random, but even the insurance guy adjuster person,
Yeah.
that's the technical
The
term.
insurance
That's-
guy adjuster person.
person.
That's the title. Yeah.
that came to look at the car at the scene
Yeah.
for insurance purposes. He even felt the Spirit. He's like, okay, I
cool.
go look at crashed cars all the time and I
Right.
don't necessarily feel the Spirit. Like,
Right.
just this strong something. There is something to this.
I love that.
There's just so many little things, and the nurse, the paramedic nurse on the life flight.
Okay.
We found out later is he came because they come do all the triage. So to make a long story shorter, no, it was still gonna be long. But
Yeah.
anyway, the life flight lands. They load her up, take her to the University of Utah hospital. I get in the car with her mom and dad, and
Luckily.
we drive. Exactly,
Yeah.
luckily, because I was,
Yeah,
I would have
what
been
would you
stuck
do?
in Evanston. My parents would have been an hour to come get me. So we stopped at a Maverick gas station, used a
Payphone.
payphone,
Oh,
called my
phones,
called my
25
mom and
cents.
dad, told them what had happened. I didn't call; it was Abby's dad, Glenn, that made the phone call. And so my parents actually met the life flight at the University of Utah.
Oh, that's
Hospital.
About
cool.
the same timing.
About the same time
for
as the
them
life
to
flight
drive to
landed.
Salt Lake from Kaysville
Is when it landed.
as life flight.
That's great.
And so when we get to the University of Utah, because it's about an hour drive from Evanston to Salt Lake to the University of Utah, we get there. My parents are already there. I'm with Abby's mom and dad. We get thrown in this little, 8x10 little office. It really wasn't even a waiting room. It was an office. And Dr. Greg Thompson comes in and just lays it all out, like right there.
Wow.
He's like, she's broken her neck at C3-4. She's a complete quadriplegic. She doesn't have any movement below her shoulders, doesn't have any feeling below her shoulders.
Oh my gosh. They knew all this in that short amount of
He
time.
just seriously, he ripped the Band-Aid off and just right then and there told us every single thing. She's not going to, life expectancy is going to be about 5 to 10 years.
What?
She's never going to live on her own. What? All these things.
Okay,
right then
so
and there.
what's going through your head when you're hearing this?
Still shock.
Yeah.
And all that, I couldn't process it because it was just so, like, what do you mean? We're just
Overwhelming.
getting married.
Yeah.
And then as he ended, this is the phrase that I'll always remember. He said, but there's room for miracles. And he wasn't a member
I
of
want
our,
to like vinyl that. Was it on my
he
wall?
wasn't a member of our faith.
What?
And,
There's
but
always
the
room for
nicest guy. And so I look back and I'm like, man, that was really cold to come in. And the first time introductions are boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. Here's the worst news
She's
ever.
done.
Yeah, she's done.
And looking back, I'm kind of glad that he did that because it did like, okay,
The
that's
reality.
The reality.
That's the reality of it.
Yeah.
So we know what reality is now. Like he said, there's room for miracle.
Oh, I love
The
that.
motto of our mission that we served one was expect a miracle.
No, I love
And
And we
so
had a T-shirt with the
The
with an
FJM.
eagle.
you guys.
Florida Jacksonville Mission, expect a miracle.
so there's just all
love
these little
that.
things that just they only
Tender
line up
mercies.
because of angels, heaven, miracles.
Like God was so
Divine
in this.
positioning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so many people placed that,
In our past.
Yeah.
and going back, we didn't quite finish the story of the life lighteners. So my dad's,
Because that came after us meeting with
okay, so
Doctor-
yeah, you're waiting, right, outside
they
the
had-
ER to get me
they had
stabilized and
they
all
had
the
brought
things.
you up to
Okay.
the neurocritical care at that point. A life flight nurse came up and
was
asked
talking
Abby's
to my dad.
Okay.
and just
And-
said, hey, I noticed that she, in the Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints, the temple,
Yeah.
that she had temple garments on
Yeah.
and just asked questions about it. And he says, yeah, she had served a mission. And he goes,
Well, I want to back
Okay,
up because
go
what I
ahead.
remember my dad saying, which was more poignant to me, was he said, I've been doing this for a
Oh, yeah.
very long time. And you bring people in traumatic things all the time.
and he never comes
And
up
he never
to meet
comes
the
up to
families.
follow up.
Really?
Yeah.
And he said, for some reason,
I feel like
I
I
feel
need-
like you need to know what happens to this girl.
What?
So as they start talking, he says that about, and my dad says, well, she served
a mission.
a mission. And he said, where, of course, right?
Yeah.
And he says, Florida, Jacksonville. And this nurse's name's Ellen Pratt. He said, my wife's sister is serving there right now.
What?
And my dad
That's
says,
so
what's her
cool.
name? And he said, Cassandra Rogowski. And my dad says, Abby
Abby
was
Train-
her trainer.
What?
Yeah.
You were her trainer?
I was her trainer.
What? And he just felt prompted he needed to go meet you.
Yeah.
That's so
And,
cool.
and so he was able
my
to then
gosh.
contact our mission. And so we have now 180 missionaries
Praying.
in Florida
He
praying because they all
immediately
knew us. And
to let
so
them know.
just these little teeny things that you look back and, like Abby said,
And
there were people placed in this that were angels
on earth,
on earth
Yeah.
to help us
all the while,
navigate through this thing.
all the other angels are doing their
Are
thing.
doing their thing because they're being prompted. Like they're listening to those promptings, right?
Yeah.
And God's like, hey, we need you here. We need you here. Like,
Do you
that's
picture
so
sometimes
cool.
like this little chessboard, right?
Totally.
Like I know we have agency and we're choosing where
Yeah.
we go. He's not just forcing
Of
us there,
course.
right?
Yeah.
But I do. Like sometimes I
Uh-huh.
just have this image of he's like, hey, you need to go over there.
Yes.
100%.
And but isn't it cool, like, to be one of those chess pieces sometimes too? Like,
Yeah, you
use
feel
me.
it. Yeah.
Who needs me? Like,
Yep.
put me
Yeah.
where I can be of help. Like, that's kind of cool too.
Yes.
I love
much.
that.
Yeah.
Guys, that is crazy.
Yeah. So-
That's so cool. Okay, so you're in the hospital. You just got the worst news ever, but there's always room for a miracle.
There's always room for a miracle.
I love that.
And so he said it would be a little bit before we could see her. And then by the time we saw her, she was up in neurocritical care. And it was my parents, her parents, walk in there. My first thought looking at her was, oh no, she's not going to like this. And it's because
Wait, what?
when you break your neck,
Uh-huh.
they, had to put what they called a horseshoe. So they had shaved the side of her head,
They did.
No, it was called not a horseshoe. It
was
was
a-
called traction.
the traction, but it was
Traction. It was a horseshoe shape.
it was in the shape of a
Okay.
horseshoe.
Horseshoe.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
had to drill into the skull horseshoe. And then
my
there was a
gosh.
string that went over the edge of the bed that
attached
had
to that.
To hold it up?
that had 40 pounds of weight because they had to pull her
Pull my
neck
neck back into
back
alignment.
into alignment.
So
So my first thought when I saw the shaved head was like, oh no, she's not going to like this.
okay,
Because
now
you know, I don't know anything about Abby.
Disclaimer.
She loves hair.
I loved hair, and I was actually, because I wasn't going to finish musical dance theater after meeting him, and he's up, Davis County, where I don't get to go back to BYU, which was fine. I was choosing
Small
this boy.
sacrifice
I was choosing
for
this boy.
Yes.
Then my other love was hair, and my aunt was a hairdresser, and I literally for years sat at her feet, babysat for her, but watched her do hair, and I learned this love, and I grew up doing all my friends' hair for all the dances, and our whole drill team. I would do all our hair to match and all the things.
So then they shave your
Well, but then, so because of when we were getting married, and it's like, okay, I'm not going back to BYU. What should I do? I actually registered for cosmetology
love that.
school.
Cute.
And so that was the other thing that I didn't get to do that I loved, right? So, but anyway, so that's why, because I'm sorry, that sounds super vain, but I really loved my hair.
Every girl would think that. I think that would be
was
hard for every
shaved.
girl. Yeah.
So that, and
that's rough.
but I didn't ever see that. And in fact, we don't even have pictures of me in critical.
No. So I look back and I'm grateful that Dr. Thompson ripped the Band-Aid off down there because when we got up to the neurocritical care, nothing felt like a shock.
Really?
It wasn't like this weighted moment. It was very,
He was a little more prepared.
I was prepared mentally to go, okay, this is
what it is.
This is what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
It's really
And
bad.
It's really bad. It's not good. She
Yeah.
does have a broken neck at C3-4,
Yeah.
which
Yeah, so that was my level. So CA3-4, even with the jawline,
Yeah.
third and fourth from the top.
Okay.
So it was very high. That's why, they're saying complete quadriplegic. And there's the difference in spinal cord injury. There's complete injuries and incomplete injuries.
and the way why they diagnosed it as not a diagnosis, but their first prognosis was a complete was because the way that 3 had slipped off of 4
Okay.
in the spinal cord that goes up through the channel, the way that it slipped off was so severe that they're
they didn't
there's like
think
no
it
way
was
there's,
still
there's no
attached.
way that that's still attached.
They thought it was
If you
severed.
think about like the position you were in, like your head probably like smashed into the
Either the back of the
seat.
car,
Well,
yeah.
And
Yeah,
so
I
think
said
about
forward.
that compression on your neck. That's
Well, and the other thing that kind of gave the clue that that's what happened, that I hit and shoved forward, was you have the 2 vertebral arteries that run up the back of your neck and give your brain blood supply, oxygen. And so the right vertebral artery was smashed shut. It wasn't severed, or they just said it's smashed. No blood was getting through. So I only had the one that was supplying my brain with blood
oh my gosh.
and oxygen. And so that was, a little bit scary.
Yeah.
To the extent that they said normally we would go in and fuse from the back,
Yeah.
but we're going to go in from the front first. So I have this fun little scar right near, I don't know.
Oh, interesting.
It's
Barely.
right in
Like,
the
you have
crease.
to
Yeah,
really point it
well,
out.
right now it's harder to see because I have so many wrinkles
You
now.
do not. Oh my gosh.
So it hides. But anyway, so they went in there,
Okay.
moved everything out of the way, fused my neck together. So I have titanium plates and
In your
screws.
neck?
3 and 4 are screwed together.
oh my gosh.
And with cadaver bone, right? They fused it together with cadaver bone.
Wow.
So it's like all one vertebra. And
And they did that.
they did that so that they're like, if we go in from the back and accidentally nick the left one,
Oh, you're dead.
she's
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
And so it was a precautionary. They're like,
Okay.
it's not the usual method we would do, but we're going to try it.
Okay.
So they did, and I don't remember the timing.
It was pretty soon afterwards. They did another X-ray
Another
and
scan, and they're like, it's not quite
it's not
holding. It's not
holding
strong enough.
because of the force of the muscles
Yeah,
pulling
like
it,
pushing
and
it.
so like we got to go in and do it from the back.
Oh wow.
And so
So you just had to risk that.
So they did.
Had to risk
and,
it.
Explained the risk, right?
Yeah.
But here I am. So
Right.
obviously they
Well,
did
and
a
by
great
the
job.
way, like you guys are feeling God's with you every step of the way. So is that reassuring in a way? Like, hey, whatever's supposed to happen, like, is going to be okay.
Well, there's a lot of cool experiences that I think we had independent of each other and also together. One of the probably the most spiritual experience I had in my life was the night that she asked me to give her a blessing before her first surgery. And I knew after that blessing just as clear as day. I knew that everything would be okay.
Wow.
Now, I had no idea what
How?
What that
okay
looked
meant
like?
Right.
or looked like. I just knew that everything was going to be okay.
Okay, that's a miracle in and of itself.
Yes.
That in the midst of the diagnosis, in the
The
midst of
trauma
everything,
and the crazy.
God says to you, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And like, how do you even, you can't see how that could possibly be true or how
Yeah,
that will happen. But
exactly.
he makes a way.
He does make a way. And also at that, it's like, because I was always, what can I do? What can I do? I know I
Yeah.
felt helpless.
For sure.
And so once I got that, I knew everything would be okay. And then the second impression that I got was from the Spirit was like, be there every day. And so for the whole time she was in the hospital, the 3 months, I was at the hospital every single day. Wow. I never missed a day.
Wow.
And I know
That's so
her parents,
cool.
my parents were worried about
Yes.
my
Yeah.
psyche, that,
Yeah.
you're not living in reality. But
Yeah.
they didn't have that experience that I had that night before her first surgery, that I just knew that everything would be okay.
Yeah.
And I know angels are real. Now, I didn't see any in that room,
Yeah.
but I felt angels in that room. I felt their
I've been
presence,
there. Yeah.
and I didn't have any, visual
Right.
of this, but I knew beyond anything, just like we're sitting here talking,
Yeah.
I knew there were angels in that room that
I
night.
love that. That's
And
such
we
a
had-
tender mercy.
Yeah, and we had some very sacred experiences with that, right? That you don't necessarily talk about all the time. It's just close to your heart.
It's
But
just for you.
there was, with that blessing, I did see in my mind's eye, right? Some people, one of which was somebody I didn't recognize, but I said, there's a lady, dark hair, I'm describing, and he said,
It's my
that's
grandma.
my grandma.
Oh my
She
God.
died. She died when I was 10.
And she was there with
So-
you?
And later he's like, let's just make sure, and we found a picture. I'm like, yeah, that was her.
Are you serious? Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
So, anyway, there's
that's
lots of those.
amazing.
There's lots of those.
Tune in next week to hear the conclusion of our story. And then follow for more Hand of Heaven stories. New episodes drop every Monday.